In 2026, buyers relocating to Denver are making one assumption about new construction homes versus resale that's quietly costing them thousands of dollars. In Brighton is where this mistake shows up the most. Today, I'm breaking down the real differences buyers can't find online because there's one factor almost nobody accounts for, and once you see it, guys, the math completely changes. And be sure to stay with me to the end because I'm gonna show you how to find every legitimate new build option all in one place. And I'm also going to uncover the biggest mistake buyers make that leaves them overpaying or stuck in a home that never quite feels right. You're relocating to Colorado, you're ready to move, but you're comparing, is new build or resale homes the right fit for you? And in today's video, more specifically, we're going to talk about Brighton, Colorado versus Denver Metro when it comes to resale. And guys, it matters in 2026 because in a high rate environment, new builds tend to be the clear winner, especially with those relocating into a new area like Denver, Colorado. And ultimately, guys, we want you to have all the information to make the easiest, smoothest, and best financial decision for your new home. Let's start with the piece that's creating the biggest gap between what buyers expect and what actually happens. In a second, we'll show you how two buyers, same price, same credit, end up with payments upwards of $500 to $700 apart. And I'm talking monthly payment. And guys, it has nothing to do with your negotiating skills. Let me break this down. In today's market, you can find a resale home, an existing home that has all the character and things you want at a price that is the same as a new build. But because of market rates being upwards of 6 to 6.5%, that same price existing home is going to cost you $500 to $700 more than if you were to go find the same price new build with builder incentives. We actually broke this down in a calculator so you can see exactly how the numbers ring true. Remember when I said, once you see the math, you can't unsee it? Well, here's the math. As you can see in calculator number one, we have a home price of $600,000, a down payment of 5%. And guys, this is a 30-year loan. We've got a 6.156% interest rate, the same credit score, the same property tax, and the same HOA as you're going to see in the next calculator. And on this particular house with market interest rates, your payment would be $3,920 a month. But when we side-by-side comparison, this same price house, all of the same math, except an interest rate of 3.99%, which is a legitimate new build incentive that one of my reps sent me just last week. And guys, my clients are taking advantage of exclusive deals like this all the time. And so when you're ready to relocate, reach out to us at the number below, text us, and we're gonna make sure you guys have exclusivity to the deals that we're getting and ensure that you guys find not only the best house for your lifestyle, but also the best deal. And guys, as you can see with the 3.99% rate, your mortgage payment would be $3,163. That's a savings of $757 a month. Guys, I don't care if you're buying a $2 million home with me or a $200,000 condo, the math is mathing, and a $757 a month savings is something you can't turn a blind eye to. Now, most builders here in Colorado aren't offering as aggressive interest rate incentive as a 3.99%, but that's why you have to know where you're looking so that you can capitalize on the best deals possible. And this is the kind of math that we're running for our clients on a daily basis. But new builds don't always win, and we're always going to tell you the truth on this channel and try to give you a contrarian perspective when we can so that you guys are seeing this from all different angles. And so what we're going to get into shortly is one of those cons that most buyers wish their agent would have told them before they ended up buying a new build. But before we get into that, let's talk further about price points. I told you, not only are we going to compare new builds to resale, but we're also going to look at Brighton versus the Denver metro area. When we look at the average price, guys, Brighton, Colorado is going to come with a much more approachable price point. We're talking $575,000 to $600,000 as the average price point here in Brighton, Colorado. Guys, that's $50,000 to $100,000 less than the Denver metro average price point of $650 650 to 700,000. But you may be wondering, what's the actual difference in houses? Not only, guys, is Brighton going to give you a more approachable price point, but it's also going to give you way more bang for your buck than Denver in most of the surrounding suburbs. We're talking bigger houses with more size to run around, with more size for the family to grow in, to do the movie nights in the basement with an 85-inch screen TV, with the big sprawling open floor concepts and that kitchen island you've always been dreaming of, at a price point that if you were in Denver or some of these other suburbs, we're talking no basements, we're talking smaller layouts overall. And as far as the finish level, to get what you're going to get in Brighton, you're gonna be paying a pretty penny for elsewhere. But you may be wondering, are you gonna miss some of the amenities and lifestyle bonuses that come with these different areas? And guys, I'm here to tell you, you're not going to be missing much with Brighton. It's one of those communities that the more I sell in it, the more I live in it, and the more I talk about it, I'm starting to become aware that Brighton is really a special place because it gives you that small town feel with that big town amenity selection. Guys, I'm telling you, Brighton's the hub of all these other eastern cities, Hudson and Kingsburg and the real small towns. They're all coming to Brighton for their grocery shopping. When it's the kid's birthday, they're coming into town and grabbing stuff. They're getting all the presents at the shops in Brighton. And when it comes Friday and Saturday night and you want to get a bite to eat, they're also coming to Brighton. And one of the best things about living here in the Brighton area is you have a large selection of both resale and new builds, to where that approachable price point becomes all that much better when you talk about that 3.99% interest rate. But I told you guys, there's a definite con when buying new construction that can completely sway these numbers. And if you're not paying attention, the tax trap I will be talking about can take away all of your savings. Now let's talk about maintenance and future risks before we get into taxes. This is the part of the decision that doesn't hurt in a year, but it's where I see the most regret by year 3. Let's talk about new builds first. With almost every new build here in Colorado, you're gonna get a 1-year bumper to bumper warranty. They're gonna cover the walls, they're going to cover floors, they're going to cover plumbing. Pretty much if you have an issue inside the walls, even on the exterior, they're typically going to cover it. Not to mention, you've got a brand new water heater, HVAC system, plumbing lines, and everything else in the house because it's brand new. And with most builders, you're also going to get anywhere from a 5 to 10 year structural warranty. So those of you with those concerns of, I don't want to buy new because what if it settles and cracks and the foundation goes bad? Don't worry, we've got you covered. Guys, I've been doing this for over 11 years. I have buyers buying new all the time, and some of my clients who have been in their new builds for 5 to 6 to 10 years, none of them, at least for my clients, have come to me with issues with foundational concerns. Now, I'm not saying they don't exist, but it's something that 10-year warranty will come in handy and give you the peace of mind so when you lay your head on that pillow at night, you can rest easy knowing you're taken care of. However, guys, on the resale side, that is definitely the risk you're going to take, knowing that, hey, that HVAC isn't brand new with a house. The roof may be 5 to 10 years old, and we don't know if it's on its way out in 5 more years or the next 12 months. And not to mention, guys, deferred maintenance. I don't care what house you're buying. Guys, it's very rare that you're walking into an existing home that is just immaculately taken care of. There's always those honey-do list projects, such as the windows being sealed, the sprinklers upkept, and the touch-up paint throughout the house. So as you're weighing your decisions, you got to consider some of these maintenance items because they can be a future risk. But guys, even with that, when you call in and allow us to help you relocate to Colorado, we've got our team of inspectors who have been doing this a very long time. So at minimum, whatever house you get into, whether it be a new build, and yes, guys, we do recommend doing a third-party inspection with new builds or an existing home, we're going to ensure that you know what you're getting into before you get into it so that you avoid those costly mistakes down the road, or at least know what maintenance is on the horizon in the next 3 to 5 plus years. Now, we're gonna get into taxes, I promise that's up next, but I just wanna seal this point with helping you guys understand what you might need to budget for. If we're going in the resale direction, guys, we just wanna have an emergency savings just in case you have stoves breaking, you have the water heaters going out, you have that sprinkler system that needs all new heads because the house has been there for 30 years, and every time that lawnmower before it gets started up. They keep running them over. It's those things that we're going to make sure you are prepared for before you enter into the resale. And for those of you who put a resale home in the rear view and all you're focused on is new builds, the biggest cost that buyers underestimate is the landscaping and fencing. You've got a brand new home. You don't need anything done inside other than furnishing and making it your own. But on the exterior, most builders here in Colorado don't do the backyard landscaping nor the fencing. And guys, if you underestimate this cost, it could be one of those where you regret buying a new build because you just don't have the funds to build the dream backyard you've always wanted. You've got the dogs running into neighbors' yards, and for years, you have all these conjoined backyards because neighbors never put up their fence, including you. So now you know what you're getting into, so you can better understand whether resale or new builds is right for you. Now guys, this next piece is the exact reason I tell buyers not to buy new. Even when everything else looks perfectly, there's that hidden tax cost that if you don't know where to look, could end up taking away all the savings that you got with that 3.99% interest rate. So let me give you some context. Most new builds here in Colorado are going to come with what's called a metro district. Think of it as they went to the bank and got a bunch of money to build the infrastructure for the community. We're talking roads, lights, fire hydrants, ultimately all the pieces that make a community before the houses go in. Well, in order to pay that back, they put together what's called a metro district, and that is what you're going to pay every month for 25 to 30 years until the bank's paid back. Now, generally this is separate from a HOA. A metro district is a metro district, and HOA is the management of a community in the rules and bylaws. Now, why that's important is because not only do you have property taxes, but you have an additional fee with the metro district that stacks on top of your property taxes, and that's where you go into those communities where you're seeing $7,000 to $8,000 to $9,000 plus in property taxes. If you don't know, to ask your new build rep what the final tax bill will be once the house is built. Now let's talk about when higher taxes are absolutely worth it and when you should run and look the other way. Well, guys, I'm here to tell you when they are worth it is when you're relatively in that 1 to 1.2% range. It really gets high when you're in that 1.4 to 1.5% range in taxes, plus you've got an HOA. That's when the fees are going to completely erode the savings that you get with a 3.99% rate. And for most people, the math isn't going to make sense at that point. But let me tell you, whether it's 1.4% or 1%, if you guys find the perfect house, the perfect community, and even with those higher taxes, you'd much rather be in this new build because you love it as opposed to a resale home down the street, that's when we give you the green light and say, hey, here's what you're walking into. We just want to make sure you're aware of it. And at that point, if it still makes sense for you guys, go for it. New builds can be a phenomenal choice when relocating to Colorado. Now, let's talk about Brighton. It sounds perfect on paper, but there's a very specific type of buyer who ends up being disappointed here. Now, guys, this is coming from somebody who has grown up and lives in Brighton. And I've said this before in the video, it is definitely that small town feel with big town amenities, and I absolutely love it. Now, for those of you relocating to Denver, Colorado, and you're considering Brighton, what you're going to find is a little bit of old with a lot of bit of new, and you've got 3 master plan communities. You've got Brighton Crossings, you've got Farm Lore, both of which we've done videos in the past on, and then lastly, you've got Brighton East Farms. Now, there's a lot to be excited about with those communities, especially Brighton Crossings. You got the outdoor pool, you've got tons of trails, and you've got sports fields in super close distance. And then when we bring you to Farm Lore, you're talking about building a whole new rec center there. Both communities are very close to the Prairie Center, which has Target and Kohl's and all the restaurants you're gonna be visiting on the weekends where you're hungry and just don't want to mess up the kitchen and cook. Not to mention, guys, Brighton has this really cool downtown area. Not my favorite in all of Colorado, but it definitely has that charm. It's got the mom and pop shops, you've got some breweries down there, and that's where the small town feel really comes into play making this community feel like home. It doesn't give you that ick of those cities that are just too big to really have connection. That's quite the opposite here in Brighton. But for those of you who want something different, you're gonna wanna look at Denver Metro Resale. We're talking much more mature trees, older and more established neighborhoods that don't have metro tax. We're talking other areas with much better walkability, character, more amenities, and ultimately, for a lot of you, cities that have closer proximity to the mountains. We're talking somewhere in between that 40, 50-minute drive to most destinations in the mountains. In Brighton, we're talking roughly that 35, 45-minute drive before you enter the parking lot and are able to jump out and get your hiking gear, where there's other suburbs, communities, and resale homes that have hiking trails in your backyard. And if that's you, you're gonna wanna check out my Golden Colorado vlog tour that we did. That is going to be much more your taste and style than Brighton. Now, guys, we're gonna give you that final decision framework so you can really start to get more clarity on, are we going the new build route or resale, and is Brighton the right place for us to narrow our search and look into? But before we do that, guys, most locals think Brighton is far from Denver, but the real day-to-day experience surprises almost everyone. Reality is, Brighton is in a low-key, really good location. I mean, we're talking 20 to 25 minutes from DIA, 25 minutes from Denver, and all the other major amenities that surround the Brighton area. While we have most of what you're gonna need on a day-to-day basis here in Brighton, there's times where you're gonna go to Thornton, or you're going to go to Denver or Broomfield, and where Brighton is situated is right alongside I-76 and Highway 25. Once you jump on either of those highways, you're gonna be a quick commute to just about anywhere you need to go. So guys, this commute here is often outdated. I myself, I'm driving to Denver to do my team meetings on Monday, every Monday, along with typically 1 or 2 more trips to Denver or South Denver. And guys, I'll do it all day long. It doesn't make a big inconvenience in my life, and I don't think it will for you either. Now, before we get into our final decision framework, to kind of wrap and summarize this up for you guys, I just want to say, look, if you're not quite sold on new builds, or rather you've got that budget and flexibility to move around the metro to some of the different suburb areas that have a little bit different feel and may offer you a little bit more diversity in terms of the product, then Brighton might not be for you. Because reality is, guys, as much as I love Brighton, it's got your acreage homes, it's got a ton of new build options. The one place it lacks is that $700,000 to $900,000 price point, where you're starting to get 4,000 square foot houses with those high-end finishes, the customization that comes with some of the other new builds. Those types of homes are not in abundance in Brighton. You can find them, but there's definitely areas that are going to better fit your needs. And that's why I encourage you guys, subscribe to the channel, because not only are we talking about Brighton, but we've got Castle Rock on the map. We've done our Vada and Golden vlog tours, and we're doing live in-person new build tours to include custom $1 million builders throughout the Denver metro area. And so through this channel, you guys are going to have all the research for you to find the perfect spot when you relocate to Colorado at your fingertips. And you guys can always text us to get a catered consultation based on what you guys are looking for to make the move as easy as possible. Now, here's the final decision framework. Guys, I've got it typed up right here. We're not gonna give you a recap. We're just gonna give you that decision lens only, so you can put it on. And ultimately, guys, choose Brighton new construction if payment certainty matters. You want the low maintenance, the family amenities around Brighton, in that small town feel without sacrificing amenities, unlike a lot of master plan communities, is right for you. But choose Denver Metro Resale if character and walkability matter. Long-term tax stability matters. You've got a little bit of a higher budget, and ultimately, as much as you love new builds, and you've got that higher budget to where whether it's a resale or maybe those higher end finished new builds, Brighton probably isn't the best place for you. Now guys, to wrap up, for the link I promised, you're gonna go to newhomesource.com. This is gonna give you a thorough list of builders and communities in the Denver metro area. Now I will tell you, there are some builders who don't list on newhomesource.com. And guys, that's why if you know you're relocating to Colorado and you need a high-level professional real estate agent on your time, reach out, guys. My role isn't to sell you a house, it's to help you avoid the wrong one. You'll find all of our links below. You've got my number on the screen. Thank you so much for joining, and be sure to take a look at our Brighton vlog tour that is linked down below, and we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.